The Seattle Sounders' brand new 2025 kit is here. Inspired by two traditional Southern Coast Salish weaving techniques, twilling and twinning. These techniques, passed down through generations, honor the resilience, deep-rooted ties, and creativity that define the cultural fabric of this region. The striking deep blue jersey will be worn by the Sounders for the next 2 seasons to honor the club's deep connection with the Puget Sound and shared responsibility as stewards of the greater Salish Sea watershed. Backing up that commitment, the Seattle Sounders will donate up to $50,000 to benefit community charities around the Puget Sound region. To get your very own Salish Sea kit, visit lobbingscorchers.com/kit. That's lobbingscorchers.com/KIT.
Okay.
We're good.
All right.
What's going on, everybody? Hit our intro, Ari. That's delayed. This is live.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a very special live episode of Lobbing Scorchers. We got this one off to a great start right there. Noah and I are live on scene at Starfire Sports Complex, where in just a couple hours' time, Tacoma Defiance will be taking on the Oakland Roots in the 3rd round of U.S. Open Cup action. Exciting to be here tonight, Noah. It's a beautiful night for it. How are you feeling?
I am excited about the matchup. I'm excited about being at Starfire. It's sunny. It's like 70 degrees. Feels like a vacation out here. Defiance, we got to win. We've got a lot to talk about, Ari.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show. We're going to be talking some Seattle Sounders, and folks, this is the really exciting part of this show. Later on, we're going to be joined by Sounders technical director Henry Bronner, who is one of the key architects, I would say, of this wave of youth development that we've seen with the Seattle Sounders in recent years. I've talked to him a couple times for interviews over the years, but really looking forward to catching up with him. I don't think I've caught up with him since he became technical director from his prior role as I think it was vice president of player development.
There's a lot of titles out here.
Gonna have to clarify that one with Henry when he gets here. He should be pulling up in about 30 minutes here. But I guess off the top here, Noah.
I put on my cool shades, Ari.
You got your shades on. Shout out Watershed FC Pizza, by the way, for granting us this space.
You should see our setup. It's actually scary.
They
let us bring too much equipment in here.
Someone in the chat said MLS kickoff start time, which is true. But if you saw everything that went into this setup, you would understand why we're just a little bit late.
But this is also our first on scene live since we were in LA, and I was literally doing it from my laptop, so it was like a total shit show.
Honestly, it looks like we got it set up pretty well, so hopefully we'll be doing more of these. I want to do more of these. I feel like every time we get to go out and mingle with the people, it's always a great time. But I guess let's start by talking about Tacoma Defiance a little bit, because they're the ones who are going to be playing tonight.
I can't write anything down because the people can see what I'm writing.
Oh, yeah. You
That's
take
scary.
that off.
Yeah.
Tacoma Defiance versus Oakland Roots of the USL Championship. And this is an exciting opportunity for Tacoma Defiance and all the players. Any game like this where you're an MLS Next Pro side playing a team that's a division up from you, in this case, the USL Championship, it presents a challenge, but it's also a learning opportunity, right?
Yeah.
I love games like this because you get to see what some of these young players are made of, and you get chances to see what they do with the stakes of an elimination game. And this, to me, these are some of the most important reps that these players are going to get. Obviously the MLS Next Pro games, that's the primary platform that they have, but this is a unique opportunity. You're playing the Oakland Roots. You're playing a lot of players that have been playing this game professionally for a long time. I was just looking at the Oakland Roots roster. I was researching their team a little bit. Last place in the USL Western Conference right now, but they got some guys. Did you know Jürgen Damm is on this team?
No.
Yeah.
Damn.
I just found, damn. He's still playing professional soccer for the Oakland Roots. But this is a guy that's been, he played for Tigres.
Yeah.
He played
That's pedigree.
in Liga MX, played for Atlanta United, famously did not go that well. But still, like the point stands, there's like for a young player in MLS Next Pro to be going up against a guy like Jurgen Damm, that's a sick opportunity. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they make of it.
And it's always like the magic of the Open Cup, right? Like, people got on us because we were like, it's fine. The Sounders aren't playing in it. I'm going to be honest, Ari. I'm going to be honest. Now that we're here and now that we're like in the whole Open Cup moment, I am kind of wishing that the Sounders were in it. Yeah. Especially because we bombed out a Champions Cup.
Yeah. And like, they're really, I kind of agree with you, like being back out here physically in this presence right now. There's nothing like an Open Cup game at Starfire, whether it's Defiance or the Sounders first team. There's just like a special vibe around it. There's been so many great moments here over the years with the Sounders first team. But I don't mind the principle of Defiance playing in this because I think it's, like I said, it's a good opportunity for them and these players to sort of make their own name, make the most of the opportunity.
No, I completely agree. And I think hopefully we'll get to see some players who are Sounders, but, haven't been getting some reps. Maybe they're, they just need some work. And I don't know. It's they better win this game, man. The Roots are not doing well.
They're really not. I mean, see, I don't know how much that matters in this scenario. Well, not even just because of the difference in division, but just like tournament play. Yeah, your current form goes out the window. So it's going to be a good game. And, I think another contributing factor to why these Starfire games are so fun is just the dimensions of the field. Like they're not orthodox, and it creates a really just kind of frantic, chaotic pace of play. We were actually on the drive down here talking about the last time that we were here for an Open Cup game, which was Seattle Sounders first team versus San Jose Earthquakes, the famous Andy T game, where they won the PK shootout. Noah got the footage of Andy T talking trash to the entire San Jose team.
He tripped every single one of them individually. It was incredible.
And you had your video go viral. I'm pretty sure it got stolen by a couple of national outlets because you really had like the best angle of that from where you were at in the stands. I was in the box for that game, and you were just out there filming Andy T, running around, talking trash to everyone. But it's like stuff like that you're just not gonna get unless it's Open Cup at Starfire.
Yeah,
so,
we're back, baby. Open Cup at Starfire.
So. And, we're so back.
So back, Chad.
We're really looking forward to catching up with Henry here in a little bit to talk, because this is the guy. If you want to know about the youth development, everything that's gone into it for the last 6, 7, 8 years that they really started laying the groundwork for this, and just in the last couple years we're finally getting to see it pay off. So I'm excited to ask him about that, and then ask him about some specific players as well. Like this is a guy that helped discover guys like Obed Vargas and Josh Atencio and others who have cracked the first team in recent years. So
I think I want to bring up a chatter here. Noah is saying competitive reps in matches like these are always good for developing young players. Sucks that the Sounders aren't playing, but at least the next gen first team players is getting minutes. And I think that's kind of where we're both at. We're really excited. It's kind of a different opportunity to get to see these guys because I don't know, MLS Next Pro is like, how do you explain it? It's not like the USL.
No, and it's just it's a developmental league, right? Like all of those games are developmental players playing against other developmental players. This is a situation where you've got developmental players who are going against, like I said, these Oakland Roots guys. They might not be doing well on the USL table right now, but like any USL roster is going to be full of grown ass men that have been playing this game at the professional level for a long time. And that makes it a challenge. But again, a great learning opportunity.
Sweet. Yeah. Should we talk about the Sounders a little bit before we do this interview, or what's our time frame looking like here?
We got some time before Henry's supposed to
should we do
pull up here. So.
A little dub pod moment?
Yeah. I think that was the plan. We were going to talk a little Defiance off the top, talk a little Seattle Sounders, and then do this interview, and then go watch the game. That's what I'm looking forward to doing. But yeah, we got a dub pod. The Seattle Sounders 1-0 victors at FC Dallas. We did our belated post-game live and dropped our initial takes on that. But no, I'll let you start it off with a few days removed. Nashville coming up here. How are you feeling about that game, and I guess more so what it means for their prospects moving forward here?
Yeah, I mean, we did our post-game live stream, which was honestly so much fun. You guys, that might have been the best post-game live stream I've ever seen in my life.
If you haven't watched it yet, like, it got the same amount of views as we usually get. It should have got more based on the content.
It was potent.
We had some really good callers. I really liked the discussion you had with Pyro.
Yep.
That was honestly, I kept getting booted off the internet at my family's house in Eugene, and you were just running it.
Yeah.
And you guys went in deep, but anyway, if you haven't watched our post game live yet, definitely go check that out.
I think I was really, listen, I need to, first of all, I got to do something. Moose, please. This is directed to you. Okay. I'm talking to you and you only. Don't worry about the audience. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I ever doubted you. I'm so sorry that I was so down on your stock. You proved me wrong, kid. And congratulations on getting engaged. So that is my engagement
Shout
present
out to Moose.
you.
Yeah, he got engaged.
But also,
it takes a big man to admit defeat.
He played well, man. He didn't just play the part that I was saying, where you kind of just have to do what you can here and there. He played well. He played really well. He was, maybe an inch away from a brace, and just
he
played well.
He's been playing well. The goals just haven't been going in.
Yeah.
But I think all this stuff we were talking about a few weeks ago, like the work he does off the ball, hold up play, combining with other guys. The offense has been, certainly with Jordan out, it's been running much better every time he's on the field. And yeah, I was happy for him to see him get a goal in this game as a reward for all that, but also, with all the discourse that's been flying around Moose this season with how things have been going for the team, but then also, when he's gotten in those good spots, it's only resulted in a goal twice. But I will say, to be fair, even before this game, he was the only one who scored in the Cruz Azul game.
That's true.
Where they ended up shipping 4 goals. But no one else scored in that game. So yeah, shout out to Moose. I think there's kind of no question at this point that when Jordan's out, the first choice setup has got to be him as the Pier 9, and then Ferreira lining up in that right pocket. And like Nico and I were talking about it on Lobbing Scorchers kickoff this morning, I don't think this necessarily means you entirely pull the plug on playing Ferreira as a 9 or a false 9. But as for what's working right now, I think it's pretty clear what's working right now. But let's talk about the other component of this goal, which was Pedro de la Vega.
Yeah.
Pedro de la Vega back out there.
Literally this far from having a goal of the week.
Yeah. No, I mean, that would have been easy goal of the week. And, we talked about this on the live too, but Obed was talking about after the game how they game planned that. They noticed on film that FC Dallas was giving that space, and they drilled that. They were like, I think we can really probably get a goal out of this because of what we're seeing on tape. And I always love, when we get those little nuggets of stuff that they notice on film, and they're like, all right, that's one thing that we're going to key in on.
Yeah.
And then you see that come to life on the field. Obed got just a couple inches from a goal of the week contender off of that same idea, like shooting from that exact area. Christian came really close to getting one, and then they get the game winner on a play where De La Vega, you can't give him that space. Like, I think we're learning that is very much in his bag. Nico even told me this morning that in the training leading up to the game, he was watching them drill that, and De La Vega was just cashing it time after time after time. And then it becomes an alley-oop in this case to Moose, but a really great shot by De La Vega. And really, I think the minutes that we've seen him get since he got back He's looking like he looked before this latest injury. And no, it's kind of hard to put into words just like how much of a boost it would be for this team week in, week out if they can keep him on the field going forward here. I think that's got to be like just absolute priority number one. Keep this kid healthy on the field because when he's healthy right now, he's playing like one of, if not the most dynamic players on the team, both in terms of what he's doing as a facilitator. I really like his work rate. I like the fire that he plays with. That's something that we're hoping Ryan Kent can also bring to the table. But great work by De La Vega on that goal. What did you think of his performance?
I thought he played great. It was good to see him healthy. It was good to see him happy to be playing. Good to see him ripping off shots like that. This game was encouraging just overall, right? Like I think that we're kind of starting to figure out the game plan. Things are kind of settling. After playing the worst 6 minutes of soccer that we've ever watched in the history of the sport, it was nice to see a solid 30 minutes of good soccer. Like, I don't think this was a lights out performance, but I think it was a pretty damn good game that, like, they should be proud that they got home and got the win. And yeah, keep De La Vega healthy. Obed was a monster in this game.
Yeah, good shout.
Obed was a monster. Like,
I think it was, would you say best Obed game of the season? I think so.
I think so. Like, I think if not the best of his career.
It was up there with, it was one of the better Obed games. It was one of the better Obed games. I wanted that goal for him because he deserved it based on all the dirty work that he was doing, all the running that he was doing. Such a dynamic two-way player. He was getting after it on both sides of the ball, and that was great to see because I think some people have been questioning that stock more so than had been the case in previous weeks, which I didn't necessarily agree with. But that was a talking point that was out there. I don't think there's any question as to the impact that he had on this game.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think we have to talk about the elephant in the room, or the demigod in the room, which is Jesus Ferrer.
Yeah, let's do it.
What's going on?
I got into it with our chat on the Lobbing Scorchers live.
When do you not get into it? When do you not get into it with chat?
More so than usual. I think there's some revisionist history going on.
Oh yeah, we do need to call. Yeah,
there's some revisionist history going on. We got people out there trying to victory lap and take credit for knowing ahead of time that like the extent to which the tactical and positional fit was going to be an issue. I was getting clowned on because, well, during my interview with Sam Hale, I have no problem saying, like, I guess I knew that there was some sort, like, that he didn't really always have a clear-cut position at FC Dallas, but I was honestly, like I said, I have no problem saying it. I was surprised the extent to which Sam Hale was like, yeah, that's exactly what it was like at FC Dallas.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're telling me the exact same thing. I don't see like as someone who doesn't follow FC Dallas, that like outside
you don't follow
of
FC Dallas. What
I don't
are you
follow
talking
the
about?
day-to-day of FC Dallas. My impression of Ferrer from the outside was a player who's had a really good, really productive MLS career, and the issues with him were two things that people were talking about at the time the trade was made. Number one was like perceived attitude stuff, right? And fitness.
Yeah.
Find me one of you in any comments or anything, any chat, any record that you have of talking about like positional and tactical fit as far as the roster. That might have been a minor issue. None of you were talking about that when the trade was made. It certainly was not a prevailing narrative. So I'm not gonna let that slide. You're victory lapping on something that you absolutely were not talking about at the time. The stuff that was getting talked about at the time was valid, like
fitness.
There was questions about as to why is he leaving FC Dallas. It seems like there's a falling out with the club.
Yeah.
His body language on the field at times. People were talking about that stuff.
Yeah.
And also there was the fitness thing with US Soccer. Is he injured? What's going on with that? That stuff that I'm not denying. But as far as people trying to claim that they knew that this positional thing would be what it is now, and like, oh, anyone could have predicted this. All right, what are you talking about? How could you not know that? You didn't know that either. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I just want to clarify that and let you guys know, you guys who are trying to pull that this morning, I see you, and you're literally like you're not going to be able to find one thing that any of you wrote about that. Like I guarantee you that.
No, not at all. You guys are cowards and losers, and don't ever challenge Ari to a mental duel because he will pull the guns
I actually
out.
at the end of the show encouraged the dissenters. You know, I'm not always right. I can admit when I'm wrong.
I mean, I think here's the common ground here is that I think he hasn't lived up to anyone's standards, and I don't think he's lived up to his own standards, frankly.
That is
like
not
I think that's a
to
problem.
be denied.
No, like I think people will sit there and be like, "Oh my God, he's a bomb, he's trash." People don't understand. Like these players don't want to be bad. These players want to be good. Like they want to win games. They want to score goals. He wants to be back to the form that he knows he can be in. And I thought your conversation with Sam Hell was incredible. Video of that clipped up will be coming out tomorrow. So if you didn't see that, you'll see it tomorrow. It is
pretty funny. Like you can watch me in real time. Like kind of, he tells me that it was the exact, like verbatim, the exact same issue. So I guess that is certainly a concern. But what I will say is I did think like what I've been saying is I just want to see progress on this topic. Like
right.
if it has to be more of a process than we would have liked, then it is what it is. But like what you don't want to be doing is stagnating with it and spinning your wheels. Like you want to see it meaningfully progress from week to week. And I did think there was better moments in this game in the second half. It seemed like he was kind of going in and out between the right pocket and the 9 a little bit. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And there was a couple good looks that he took a couple shots.
He took a couple shots. Breaking news. Breaking news, everyone.
It's funny.
Jesus Ferrer is shooting.
It reminds me, like I was watching Happy Foot Sad Foot the other night.
Yeah.
And the way they would talk about Giroud is just so funny.
Yeah.
Like they'll be like, there was one part where I saw him run. He ran.
It's really sad that we're comparing him to Giroud. That's where we're at right now.
That's what's happening right now. But like,
Danny Musovski has more goals than Olivier Giroud in MLS. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Better player.
Think about that.
Danny Musovski has more goals than Jesus Ferreira. Think about that.
But like the fact that he took a couple shots was good to see. And I thought in general there was more danger than in previous weeks. Am I tripping on that?
No, I think you're right. Like FC Dallas is an interesting team, and I think it should also be said that Lucho looked terrible.
Yeah.
He looked like he had never played soccer before. When you have Leo Chu chirping you and being correct to chirp you, there's a problem there.
Oh my God.
There's a problem there. Their two best looks came from Leo Chu's service.
That's true. And then also the Lucho free kick right at the end.
Dude,
that was like when they gave that up, I was temple massaging. I was like, this is where like classic scenario where the equalizer could come, and then he bombs it into the 37th row. So, but like you want to talk about a process of a player getting integrated. Lucho Acosta, he's had some good moments for FC Dallas so far this year, but they're going through like the same thing.
Yeah, and Petar Musa is injured now.
Yeah, it's like sprained ankle, I think. But
still, it's like they get it.
Well, but like my point is, like they're going through the same thing. Honestly, I think it's pretty comparable to what Seattle's going through with Ferreira. And he's one of the most talented players that's been in the league in the last like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
You know? So that is how it goes sometimes. And the reality is, we can go back and forth on the Ferreira stuff all day, but this next slate of games here is going to be what really defines it, Yeah. Like if we get 5-6 more weeks into the season and we're having the same conversations, then I think then you can start talking about how the whole operation was a bust. But I'm definitely not gonna say that on match day 8, just because part of it is cope, but part of it is also I've watched enough of these seasons and I've followed this league long enough to know that the narrative around any team in match day 8 is typically not what it's going to be in match day 34, for better or for worse. So what we're going to find out in the next few weeks, starting with this Nashville game, is if it's going to be this win was the start of a positive trajectory after a difficult start, or if what we saw in the difficult start is more of the type of team this is. We're going to find out. We don't know yet.
Yeah, I want to get into our Lobbing Scorchers player of the match because
Oh wow, yeah.
I'm interested to know where you land on this.
Give yours first. Give yours first.
I thought now I've got to pull up FootMod because I have it in my head, but I don't. Oh, we got a super chat. Will you pop that up? Ari, read this super chat for us.
How many goals does Jesus Ferrer need to have a successful first season in Seattle? When they made the trade, we were doing over-unders and stuff on this, and I wanted him at pushing 10 and 10. That's what I was kind of setting as not like a crazy, unrealistic expectation based on his career track record and going on to a team in Seattle that ostensibly had a lot more talent than FC Dallas and a couple guys that he's played for on the national team. I think based on what we've seen so far, that expectation, I'm going to adjust that. But if he ends up at like a 6-8 or an 8-6 from this juncture in the season toward the end of the season, I would take that. But I think if he 10 and 10s, that's an undeniable success.
Yeah, no, I agree. Now I think we were originally like not. I think we were a little bit hotter on him than we initially thought he was good.
Hey, I made no bones about the fact that I really liked the trade at the time.
I still like the trade. Like,
yeah,
they gave up basically nothing.
Well, and I think the whole idea of getting a player of his pedigree and like track record in the league on a not DP deal, I still think like that business makes sense, man.
Yeah.
Like regardless of how it turns out, I can understand that thought process, which not every move you make is gonna work out. But if a move doesn't work out, but I can understand the process behind why you made it, I can live with that more than like a move that makes no sense. The Ryan Kent thing, I think, is another example of that. Like how they got a player of his pedigree and what he's done in his career here as they did as a non-DP, like I'll take that gamble all day. And I think Ferreira was shown to be worth the gamble. Anyway, what were we talking about?
We were doing a goal of the or man of the match, Lobbing Scorchers man of the match.
Lobbing Scorchers man of the match.
I think it's undeniably Obed personally, that or De La Vega, but I like to do an obscure moment. So
I think we agree that it's Obed, but we can go outside.
I'm gonna go RBW. I thought RBW came out and played really well off the bench, and that's kind of just where I'm at. Like I want to.
What did you like about what you saw from RBW?
I liked his movement. I liked his pace, his speed on the wing. It really against tired legs, he looked awesome, man. Like he was making plays. He had a shot on goal. Like what more could you want from a guy who's subbing in to try and close out a game? He got back on defense, defended well, got some good tackles and interceptions. I want him to get more minutes. And
I agree with
think that like he looks like he has the juice, and he has the juice better than a player like actually I don't know who he has the juice better than. Like I was gonna say Nuhu, but they don't really play the same position.
I mean, he can play where Nuhu plays, but it's a very different type of way that he plays that position. RBW is good in attack. You know?
Yeah,
so,
correct.
I mean, I think I would easily go with Obed. I think Moose is
contender,
a definite contender, just because of not just the goal, but like the symbolism of the goal.
Yeah,
right. And you could give De La Vega a shout too. There are some good performances in this game. I think you have to credit the defense in this game too. Like FC Dallas, that was not a good home performance from them at all. But Seattle did a good job to capitalize on that.
You got to eat when you can.
I don't care, man. Anytime you shut out a team with Lucho Acosta on the road, you take that.
All right. How's it going?
What's up?
Here, scoot over a little more, Ari. We'll get us all in here. How are we?
Good.
We're live, so don't reveal too many secrets here.
I'm gonna throw this. Here.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, don't leak the credential. I've done that before. That's a whole.
Just told me there's some piracy out there.
Piracy? Oh no.
So
Very excited to welcome in our
can
next
pull that
guest.
Close. You probably just want it like here. It's good.
perfect.
Yeah, it should.
You tell me
Rotate
what
a little bit. Get you like that.
Oh, look at this.
As soon as we get our guest set up
Boom.
with his
Boom.
microphone, I'll introduce
All
him. Very
Perfect.
excited to be joined by our next guest. Folks, this is big time. We have Seattle Sounders technical director Henry Bronner joining the show right now. Henry, thank you so much for taking the time to join this live show out here at Starfire with us. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. That was quite the introduction, so thank you.
I
really appreciate that.
I mean,
superhero,
big time role,
soccer wizard. What else should we add on there?
Oh man, whatever you call it, it's already started pretty well. So thank you,
Henry. Really excited to catch up with you about the Sounders, but also I kind of want to make this the theme of this conversation youth development, because that's what Tacoma Defiance and MLS Next Pro are all about, and that's what you have a long background in with this organization. We've talked a couple times in interviews for stories about some of the young up and coming players that have broken through to the first team in recent years. But I guess to start off, how is your role kind of changed, and what have you had to adapt to going from being correct me if I got this title wrong, but vice president of player development?
Yes.
So going from that to technical director, what's that been like for you? What are the changes in your day-to-day as far as that goes?
I think always, again, like the ethos of the club and the identity of the club and where we are as a club, the Sounders right now, I think a massive importance gets placed on the youth and our ability to develop our own. So I wouldn't say there was much of necessarily like a change from titles to different things, but it was more of just making sure that we can align everybody from our oldest player to our youngest player, and so that goes from our first team player all the way down to our 13-year-old in STP. I think the change more or less resulted in just needing to support maybe a little bit more with scouting within Tacoma and the first team, and a couple other responsibilities there. The club has helped me grow, just like they help a lot of the players grow. So massive part of my responsibility, though, and the most important part of, I think, my responsibility will always be having an eye onto the development side of the club. And, again, it's in really good hands right now with Wade Weber as the director of development. He's overseeing everything from Tacoma Defiance down. And then we also have Craig Dalrymple, who's our head of professional player development. You have Brayton, you have the academy coaches, you have all the people in that space, H and Michael, doing the work day to day on the field. So I guess to make it short and quick, I guess I still smell the grass a little bit every day, but I smell it a little bit less now with the role. And so I just try to support all the departments as best I can.
What's it been like for you, I guess, in the last couple years in particular? It feels like a lot of the fruits of the labor that you put in are being realized with guys like Obed Vargas breaking through and generating all kinds of transfer buzz. I mean, we got takes on how much the fee should be.
45 million.
Noah said 45 at one point. I've been saying 20 or hang up the phone,
Yeah.
We'll take any. It all sounds great.
But it's not just Obed. You've had Josh Atencio, RBW. Just then, you got guys like Snyder Brunell coming up as well. Does it feel like kind of the culmination of just all the hours that you put in scouting these kids up, finding them, developing them, and now they're actually breaking through to the first team? They're contributing to the first team and generating transfer buzz, getting traded for pretty large sums within the league in Atencio's case. What's that kind of feeling like for you to see that?
I think, again, I support a lot of the spaces. The people that are in those spaces are the ones that are driving everything that you're seeing. But I think where we are right now in regards to, let me put it this way. You can have your Obed Vargases, you can have your Josh Atencios, you can have your Danny Levis, you can have your Reed Baker Whitings. But if they're not surrounded by the right people in the right environment, they won't ever reach that potential that we see or we hope that they can. And I think a massive amount of credit goes to the people that are working in that space day in and day out, that are on the field every single day with these players. And those are the people that ultimately need to be the ones that are celebrated, because those are the ones that have taken these players' dreams and they're making them a reality. Like Obed coming in from Alaska and Danny Leva coming in from Vegas. And, obviously our local homegrowns as well, having that ability to play with our first team and showcase their talents in front of their peers in their community. Like, that's an incredible opportunity for them and an incredible, I think, honor, I think is the best way to put it. But for me, the reality is, the Obeds, the Dannys, the Atencios, all the ones coming through, Schneider Burnell, Seba, all these guys in the second team, Stuart Hawkins, again, like they are going to be wonderful soccer players. We are just fortunate to be able to kind of surround them with the right people. And because we've surrounded them with the right people in the right environment, I think that is what you're seeing come to fruition. All the numbers and all that stuff, that's great.
That's the gravy,
that's
right?
Cool. But again, the people that are doing the work every single day on the field, those are the ones that really get to deserve the credit.
What makes Seattle so different than a lot of other places? Because I feel like we've talked about this so much, that the identity of the Sounders, they're so easy to root for because you get to follow these stories through the levels, whether like for us, we love Paul Rothrock, right?
Yeah.
Like a guy who, comes, works his ass off at, Defiance, finds his moment. He was telling me when we were talking that, he was like ready to pitch himself as a wing back if he needed, and like all of this, whatever he needed to do, what makes Seattle different than, some of these other MLS clubs in those aspects?
Yeah. I think when we look at signing a player, and this is true for all the clubs maybe in the country or maybe even the world, like usually if you're a talented young player with a lot of potential, you're going to get like your first contract. That's your first contract is based on your potential and your talent. So if you're a talented young player in the United States at an MLS academy, more or less you're going to have the opportunity to probably go into a professional pathway. Now, I think what makes us different is that we value the character of that player just as much as we value the talent. And if at any point that character drops below the level of talent that we are projecting in that player, then we have to make a decision about this might not be the right space for them right now, or maybe in the future we can bring them back. But I think we have a pretty clear saying, within the development side, and Wade Weber going through his pro course, kind of came up with our values and everything that we believe in. Is the first most important thing is that we support people, and that's whether that's coaches or players. But the second thing we always try to abide by is that when your best players are your best people, then you have something unique. And I think we have that in your Obeds, in your Atencios, in your Levas, in your Reeds, in your Cody Bakers, in your Paul Rothrocks. They embody that value, and they embody that, I guess, cliche or saying that we have, but it's very true for us that they have to be an incredible human being first, and then they can be an incredible soccer player second. And if we can get that right, then we're going to have people that support us. We're going to have fans that cheer for us, and we're going to have people that want to put some wild numbers out there for some of them. So.
Yeah, I mean, that really shows, though. And, you look at the people who, Jordan, for example, right? Yeah. We've had the honor of talking with him many times, and it's like his character is just such that he is a sounder. Like he's the type of player where you're like, you are a sounder, right? Like, so that's so cool to hear that, like, you can be talented, but if you don't have the character for it, it's
and the way it breaks down at the professional level is, again, the talented ones, they will get their first contract, whether that's a second team deal, a pro pathway deal, a homegrown contract. But then by the time maybe 2021 comes around, there's no second contract, no third contract. Like, we want to make sure that the players that are coming through our system and our development side, they're going to be hopefully playing into their early 30s, mid 30s, and that's important to us. We want them to make a career of it, but the only way they make a career of it is by having the right character, by having the right personality, and being the right type of human being first, and then obviously the soccer comes second. So
when you're doing a character evaluation on a player that you're looking at, what are kind of those things that you're looking for where you talk to a kid and you think to yourself, all right, this is what we're looking for. This could be a sounder. Yeah,
I think, and again, we have a pretty clear document when we're in regards to when we're bringing in players at a younger age.
The secret sauce.
The secret sauce. It's like our key qualities is what we call them. And so our head of recruitment, David Lara, he has a very clear knowledge base of like, these are the positional traits and behaviors that we want to see in young players. And a big part of that is the autonomy, so we have autonomy, cohesion, and execution. So those are the overlying kind of ideas and concepts that we want to see in a young player. And each of those pillars, then you see behavioral traits. So from the autonomy perspective, we want to see players that have a growth mindset. So their ability to take on information and then execute the information that they're given, that clearly shows that they have a growth mindset. They want to be coached. They're coachable, I guess is the term to talk about it. Their ability to take control of their own development, their ability to work on things outside of the training session, outside of our environment, we look at all these things when they're in the classroom with Diane Carney, our head of education for the academy. We look at their academic, how they're doing there. They can't just exude excellence on the field. They have to exude that excellence everywhere else. And there's a clear correlation between the players that have the highest GPAs and the players that are most talented. And those are the ones that usually make it the furthest because they're willing to do everything to the max of their potential. So that growth mindset, that ability to be coachable, that ability to take on information, even when it is extremely, extremely difficult and critical, and then how they process that and then turn that back into the next performance or training session. We can see it from week to week, month to month, but ultimately like that year to year progress we see, those are the ones that are taking the biggest strides the quickest. Best way to put it.
Why don't we hit this question from chat here? We got a good one from other Noah, not this Noah. Noah is wondering, how does the coach and scouting staff contribute to the institutional memory of the Sounders organization in developing and polishing young players?
Yeah, I think two things have to work very in sync, and they have to be very symbiotic. That's our talent identification and our talent development. If we can get those two things working in tandem and working in a very clear parallel, then we're going to have success. Anytime we have, and we haven't had this, but our talent idea and our talent development have always been so strong, and the ability for those people that work in those spaces to continue finding the right player for the right environment. There's a clear saying, like, you can't be a palm tree in Minnesota. Like, we find the right players that are going to fit this place here, and we make sure that we bring them in so that we can develop them. And then in terms of like the institutional memory or the histrionics of everything, I think we've seen a lot of players, our development staff have seen a lot of players come through. So now we've seen your Danny Leyvas, your Jordan Morris, you've seen, Obed coming through. So now we've seen them from age 14 all the way through now to 23, 24, like a Jackson Reagan. And so now there's clear parallels as to, okay, they were doing these things that they did at a younger age. So if we look at, say, Stuart Hawkins, which you'll see tonight in the game, and we look at Jackson Reagan, okay, what are Stuart's starting points in comparison to where Jackson was when he was that same age? Is Stuart ahead of him? Is he behind him? Do we need to catch him up? Because now it's clear we have a very good first team starting center back in Jackson Reagan. And we believe that Stuart, if we're doing the right things and evolving every year, we can create a better version of that. And then the next generation coming through, create a better version of that. So you probably saw Gallatin Sandus. You've seen some other of the young center backs coming through. So we're always trying to kind of evolve the process and evolve the methodology and the pedagogy and the system that we're trying to create so that we keep creating a little bit better generationally each time we go, because I think the demands of the game are only going to increase. So we got to make sure that we're staying ahead of the curve in that sense. And the last part of that is, like, when we're polishing the young player, we have to look ahead. So let's say we look at Omar Hassan right now.
Mm-hmm. We had him right now.
That was my next question.
We're intrigued.
So we have Omar Hassan, right? So, when he was, coming through up to 24 months ago, we're trying to already project, okay, when Omar's entering professional soccer, which is probably 2 years down the road, or when he's maybe entering the first team, which is maybe like 3 to 4 years down the road, what is the game going to look like at that point? Because the game is ever evolving, so we're trying to not just look at a player that's 14 and project, oh, he's going to be a good player at 15. We're going to try to project that player as to how do we make him the best version of himself at 18 through 21 in that formative years when he's first entering professional soccer at the first team level. And then we can then hopefully project and give him the right pathway moving forward from that point.
That's a great segue into what was going to be my next question anyway.
Perfect.
I wanted to ask a couple player-centric questions, but Omar Hassan, we both pay pretty close attention to who the next young up-and-coming players are who could one day break through to the first team. And this is a name, Henry, that I keep hearing over and over and over. I admittedly have not watched a ton of him myself to know where all this buzz is coming from, but from what I'm gathering this is one of the most kind of just like electric attacking young players that you guys have had coming up in quite some time. How did you find this kid? And then what can you tell us in the audience about why he's getting a lot of national attention right now? He's scoring crazy goals. Just what is his story, and what are your hopes for his future prospects?
Yeah, so Omar came through STP. He was playing at Seattle United. He came through the younger discovery program into the academy full-time a couple years ago. What's interesting and exciting about Omar is we've had this ability to kind of always produce your holding midfielders, line-to-line midfielders. Every now and then we've had a couple wingers, but more like a pocket winger, players that like to come inside, combine. Obviously, center backs and outside backs, we've had a lot of success in producing that player through the academy and through the development side. Omar kind of breaks that mold in that he is for lack of a better term, he is an exciting, dynamic winger that, he gets a lot of international call-ups by the United States national team. He's been in every youth national team camp since I think he was with us full-time, U14, U15. He's headed to, he was just in England at the UEFA Friendship Tournament where he got the player of the tournament. He scored, 5 goals in, 4 games, 2 against England. He's had a wonderful kind of meteoric type rise since being here full time, and he's handled a lot of those pressures very well. That's, I think, what also makes him unique. A lot of the social media attention that the young players get, a lot of those things are sometimes can be a little bit of a distraction, but he's a very grounded kid, and thanks to his parents as well. But for us, Omar is exciting because you can see it's very clear what type of positional profiles we like to have within the first team, and if we look to Georgie Manungu, who's come through our development side, has those same acceleration qualities, has those same 1v1 qualities in wide areas. Now we have the next kind of younger version coming through in Omar. So we're excited to kind of have a player like Omar who's going to get a lot of opportunities at the international level with the youth national team. And again, he's a signed player to the club. His family is fully supportive. The club is fully supportive. And he's just one of those players that at any moment when he gets the ball, you get a little bit more high in your seat, and it's exciting to watch. So
yeah, we're really excited to watch his trajectory. He's fun to watch. He's very entertaining player. Why don't we hit that last one in chat right there, and then Noah, you can bring us home, and then we'll let you go, Henry.
Absolutely.
This one is from Ask Bio. What's been the biggest change in development strategy since moving to the Long Acres facility? Something you are looking forward to given the opportunities that presents?
Yeah, so I think for us, we call them like contact hours. So we have X amount of contact hours with players every day. So they come to when we were here at Starfire, which is where we are now, they would come in, they'd have their training session, they'd go to their online school. But from that point, kind of after that, they would then go back to their home environment. They go home, they finish up their school if they're going to a normal brick and mortar school. But now what Long Acres gives us the opportunity to do is we control their contact hours so much more. So from the time they're in with us in the morning, some of the players have like their speed and strength development with our performance coaches. They have their own gym in the development side of the club. So they have their own space, their own everything. They have every available resource to become the best version and the best player that they can be. There's no excuses anymore. Like, not that there was necessarily, I don't want to say excuses when they were here at Starfire, but they have everything they can want. They have every state-of-the-art machine. They have every state-of-the-art equipment from, the gym, the squat machines, all the stuff the performance staff just absolutely drools over. They have it all there. So our ability to now not only create an incredible soccer player, but also an incredible athlete comparative to that as well. And if we go back to, if we're projecting players forward into the future game, what the game's going to look like in the future, well, it's only going to be faster. It's only going to be more powerful. And if it's faster and more powerful, there's only going to be less time for decision-making on the ball. So our ability to harness and use all the resources that we have at Long Acres in a very confined private space, it's going to be pretty exciting. So we're excited to kind of see what that evolution looks like over the next couple of years. But we got everything we want. The players have everything they want. The staff have everything they want. They actually have their own locker room.
That's nice.
There you go.
No, that's interesting because
got it all.
I think people have been critical of like, oh, the Sounders are investing in an old Boeing facility. Like, what is that? I just go sign Messi 2.0, But I think that you bring up a really interesting point of like sometimes the investment in the long-term future of the club is something like Long Acres, where it seems very clear that like this is going to have a direct impact on the outcomes of these players.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, again, like we are very dependent to produce our own and very dependent on our development side of the club to ensure that we're providing the right depth for our first team roster. And if the players are of the caliber and have the right trajectory and get the right opportunity, you can see what happens with your Obed Vargases and your Jackson Reagans maybe a little bit down the line. But again, like it's an incredible moment, I think, for us, you know, and Wade was talking about this probably a month ago where Josh Atencio, he made his move to Colorado.
Yeah.
And we've had a very high density of talent within those midfield positions. And in the same day that Josh Atencio was starting a game for Colorado, you saw Obed starting a game for Seattle and Danny coming into the end of that game. And then in the following week, you saw JP and Danny starting in the midfield against LAFC.
Yeah.
If Josh is still here, he's not starting that game, or Danny's maybe not starting that game. And so now we have players that are fulfilling their next step in their journey, and they're doing it at a new club. But I think they have that Sounders identity that will always carry through with them. And I think because we were able to give everything to Josh, we're now able to hopefully extend his career well into as far as he wants to keep going.
Yeah, I think that's like such an exciting step for the club. You know, I think the biggest probably like star on the hill was Yedlin, right? Like that was kind of the only person you could point to where a player who developed here I don't really know the whole story of his development, but was technically in Seattle and playing soccer. And now, you know, yeah, you're seeing really talented players go from being, you know, a fringe bench guy to he's starting in matches and playing significant minutes and is a big part of that team, and it's important. And like that is amazing to be able to like see that and experience that as a fan personally. Yeah,
and it's a really good feeling for the development side of the club as well, because again, he maybe wasn't getting the necessary opportunities that he deserved, and that's okay because, you know, because there's such a high density of talent in those positions, they have to fight for it. And now somebody values him more than they value other players on their team, and that's why they took him. And again, credit to MLS for creating this internal transfer market, ability to use your funds differently. And again, we've been able to extend the career of Josh and hopefully extend the career of many others as they either transition more fully into our first team or they transition out of the club, maybe into, you know, a new club. But the one thing I guess I missed saying earlier was a massive part of my role when I first came to the club was getting players into the club.
Yeah.
And now like a big part of my role is like getting players, those same players now, like around the clubs.
Yeah.
It's an interesting dynamic, but
you were the pitch guy. You're like, let me sit down.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I want to bring it home here with what is your favorite Sounders moment or memory? Like just in general, could be working, could be just like physical experience with the club.
Yeah,
it's a tough one. I know
it is a tough one. I don't know if you remember this, but remember the goal Danny scored from like 45 yards out?
The one that got by the way. Off? It counted, by the way.
In our hearts.
In our hearts.
In our hearts, it counts.
It counted.
I still will die on the hill that should have counted.
And I just remember Mikey Morris texting me just like, this is the loudest he's ever heard Lumen. Ever. Up until that point. Obviously, Club World, CONCACAF Champions League final. That was pretty loud too. But that moment when I think Danny was 16 at the time.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for, very soft call, Justin Dillon kind of bumped into the goalie in it. But anyway, that moment kind of, I think, showed not only the club, people at the club, but it showed that, well, we can create these moments from the development side of the club. And we were able to give a player that needed this environment. Like Danny, we didn't find Danny. Like Danny found us. He needed to find a place where he could harness his ability and his talent. And outside of Justin Dillon stepping on the goalkeeper's foot, he scored one of the most memorable goals at Lumen. That didn't count. So I don't know. That was a cool moment I felt for everybody at the club, just because of the belief everybody had in Danny. Still have that same belief in Danny, but
and he's getting good minutes. He's been playing
exactly.
He's been playing well. I'm a big upside on Danny Leyva.
He embodies that best player, best people ethos that we truly believe in.
I gotta say, that's true.
That's a great shout.
Dude, in the locker room, I've never seen someone so excited to see reporters and just a legitimately, Danny Leyva is one of my favorite human beings. Like as a person, he's such a good human being.
Yeah, we're again, I'm excited. And again, on the development side, we have to project players forward so much. But, you know, hopefully when Danny retires at the age of 38 and plays for a super long time, 20 more years.
Yeah.
Excited to see what type of coach he's going to become, because that's going to be interesting. So,
yeah, when Brian retires, he can take over, because I think Brian's still got another 20, 30 years.
That's it. He does. He sure does. So,
all right, Henry, I think we're gonna get you out of here on that. Thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome on anytime.
Anytime you want to come back on. I know our audience loved hearing from you. Appreciate the people in chat who asked some questions. Sorry we didn't get to all of them, but that was a fun little interactive aspect of it that I wasn't even expecting. So
thank you guys.
Yeah, great stuff. Thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate it so much.
We hope to see you soon.
Excited for the game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game.
Appreciate
you down there. Thank you so much for coming through.
That was Henry Bronner, Sounders technical director. What a big get for the show here at Lobbing Scorchers. That was a great interview. No, I feel like we got some great insight on the youth development, which has become an ethos of this club, and that is and
Henry's the man.
He's the man. He's one of the key architects in that. So great stuff. Appreciate the time, and shout out to you guys who asked the questions in chat. That was some good stuff for us to riff off of. All right, Noah, we still got a little while before game time.
Yeah,
but,
I think we should open the floor to questions for sure. We can, for what people want to know, we can talk about this game, this
sure,
upcoming game, past game.
Why don't we hang around for 10 more minutes or so? Take some questions. You guys can put your topics in the chat if you've got anything else you want us to hit on. Like you said, either related to Tacoma Defiance Open Cup or the Seattle Sounders first team. But I guess while we wait for those to trickle in, did you have any initial takeaways or favorite answers from our interview that we just did?
I
with Henry?
love that Danny Leyva answer, man.
That was a great
was
answer.
Electric. I remember that happening and just jaw dropping. No way he just scored that. And then it getting called back, and I'm like, it doesn't matter. It will always count in my book. It will always count.
It's funny. I would not have really thought of that as a moment that stands out in that way.
Yeah.
But if you think about it from his perspective, as the person who
recruited him,
probably brought Danny Leyva to the organization and watched his whole ascent from, all these guys start out as academy kids that are just fighting to make it. And then not all of them make the first team. To watch him make that ascent, get on the field for the first team, and then look like he's scored that goal, and then them have it unjustly wave it off. It's I love the idea of I don't even care if it counted, just to see him on the field doing that, and then hearing how loud the crowd was. But yeah, no, I love that answer as well. Also, continue to be intrigued by this Omar Hassan character.
Yeah,
I really do. I think for as successful as this club has been at youth development, star standout electric attackers.
We haven't seen many of those come through the Sounders
There's Jordan
Academy.
Morris, which is obviously a big one, but it's most of the guys that have been developed are 6s and 8s, and Stu Hawks is a center back. So I'm really eager to follow his trajectory and see how far he can take it, because that kid very clearly has the makings of what could be a special player.
Yeah, I'm stoked to watch him. I think, another one of my favorite answers too was just talking about the ethos of a Sounders player versus you can have talent, you can have all of that kind of stuff. Every player has talent. There's a billion players out there with talent, but there's not a million players with talent and the right attitude. And I think that really shows with, you look at all the Seattle homegrowns, some people call them boring. Some people say, they're not
too nice. I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. But it's that is a part of the identity of the player that makes them so talented and good, is they will work hard. We call it a Brian Schmetzer player, but maybe it's just a Seattle Sounders player.
I think there's something to that. It's it's not just about character in terms of being a good person. I think that's the biggest part of it.
Yeah.
But it's about living and breathing the game.
Yeah.
Love and ball.
Yeah.
That's I think a big part of what they're ethos is as well. And all these kids that have come up in recent years that we've been talking about share that attribute.
Yeah, let's hit some questions here. And Chris asks, any first teamers playing tonight? I don't think so, but we also don't have the lineups yet, so I
haven't seen the lineup.
I can't tell you that.
Not to my knowledge. I think in this, I don't know, it's tough. Like, what do you think of the balance between really trying to win this game and advance in the tournament, but also using it as like a platform to get experience to your young players, potentially at the expense of taking the result?
I think you're so depleted right now. You're going to be playing like supplemental players in a game like this. I think maybe if you advance again and you actually get to play an MLS team, you're probably like definitely going to try and get some starters. There's people who are eligible and there's people who aren't. So like Georgie Manungu is not eligible to play, but Paul Rothrock is, which is really funny.
They should throw him out there.
Rothrock is an Open Cup dog, dude. So I'm just saying, if they get to play against an MLS club in the next round, which I think might be like Portland, I'm like almost positive that it would be Portland. You got to play the dog, Paul Rothrock.
Oh man, we're gonna have to come back here if it's a Timbers derby.
We'll stream again, but have a better setup this time. Hopefully the setup's been good. We literally like threw this together in 24 hours. So. Let's go hit Matt Sexton's question here. What are your goal and assist predictions for Ryan Kent without seeing him yet? Blind. We're going in blind, Ari.
I mean,
5 and 5 will make me happy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was going to say. Something like that. Without having seen him play, it's hard to know. But I think like if this hits how they're hoping, it will hit. I think 5 and 5 would be around the output that taking into account that it might take a little bit to ramp him up and he's not going to be here for the full season. Mm-hmm. If you got 10 goal contributions out of him, I think that'd be
sick.
I would take that all day.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know, you don't want to overhype it before you even watch him, but like just based on pedigree, I think there's at least the potential he could provide more than that. If like in a best case scenario outcome, where he comes in and is just like, this league is easy and I'm going to tear it up. Yeah. The upside is higher than that.
I agree. Well, I think I just see some questions about third kit. Our third kit's 100% confirmed. I don't know anything about that.
I don't know anything about that.
Whatever. And then it looks like if things go great, Defiance get to play Portland in the Open Cup. Could they beat the Timbies? Well, we'll close with that. Could they beat the Timbies? The Timbies are not that good.
Well, they're playing really well right now. That's true. They're scoring a bunch of goals. I mean, that would be tough.
That'd be a tall task. That would be a tall task.
It's not even just the Timbies, man. It's a tall task going against a USL team that's last on the West table tonight. Yeah. That's just like the reality of a developmental league versus a pro league. Yeah. But it would be. I mean, I would watch. I will be.
I
am
here.
going to.
I will be
easily,
here if they can get. We'll take it one step at a time. Let's hope we can get it here. But thank you all for tuning in. This was a little bit of a nightmare. Thank you for joining us late.
Logistics not flawless, but
hopefully it looks good.
We pulled it off. We did it.
We did it.
We got it. We streamed
it. 50 people.
We got the interview done. People were tuning in. We did it.
Well. With that, thank you all so much for tuning in. We're going to head out. We're going to go pack all this shit up and watch this awesome game. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, become a YouTube member, all of that.
Comment, rate, 5-star, tell friends,
all that stuff. Anyway, we're out. Peace.
Don't want to give money to the oligarchs, but love Lobbing Scorchers? Do we have a deal for you? MLS Season Pass is back on Apple TV with access to every single MLS match, including Leagues Cup and the entire Audi MLS Cup playoffs with no blackouts. It's not just the games, you get total access to the pre- and post-match MLS 360 whip-around show in both English and Spanish, and get live look-ins and highlights from around the league, as well as full match replays and recaps. Now, you can support our show by visiting lobbingscorchers.com/Apple TV to purchase your subscription and support our show.
lobbingscorchers.com/Apple TV. Please, don't let the oligarchs win.